We're gonna restart on that one. Sorry, I'm gonna do another take. Sorry. Like, you don't want your daughter around this man? You actually do want your daughter around this man. No. Sorry. Welcome back to Culture and Us. I'm your host, AVP, and I am joined today by the one and only Craig Master. Okay, this is the man, the myth, the legend, tall, dark, and handsome.
Thank you.
The epitome of, what your daughter is looking for in a man out there. This is Craig right here. Craig, what do you got to say about yourself, man?
Thank you for the introduction.
Uh-huh.
Today I'm joined by an enigma. I'm joined by Thanos' mentor himself. I
wrote the lines to Thanos. Okay, bro, for Thanos.
The man who mentored John Wick as well. I'm joined by Mr. AVP here today. And in today's episode, we've got a lovely lady with us. We've got Tats. That's just a nickname that I gave her. But we've actually got, her real name is Tatiana. And yeah, man, we just got her here today to just chop up a bit of a conversation about growing up black. So today's just going to be a bit of a more easy one, a more of a relaxed one. And we hope that you guys do enjoy it. And yeah, I think you can introduce yourself, Tatiana.
Hi guys, how are you? What do you call the people here?
Cultured
people.
Cultured
really.
people.
Yeah.
I love that. Cultured people. Hi everybody. I'm Tatiana. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me.
It's great having you here. And I got to say, you were very gracious about accepting this invite. We were like, I wasn't sure about how this whole thing was going to work out, to be honest with you. I was like, Craig, are you sure, man, she's going to come through? And Craig was like, dude, just relax. She's going to come by. She's super chilled.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, now, as I said, what I said to you back to the ball, I'm going to say it again. Craig has said so many praiseworthy things about you. I was actually dead serious when I said that. I was dead serious. I wasn't lying.
Thank you. Now I'm curious. What did he say?
Yeah. Well, whoa. She's taking over the podcast right now. She's the one asking questions.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. No. I mean, it's fine. I'm gonna tell you what he said. So, he did describe you as super smart, because you guys worked together in the.
We did a boot camp together.
You were part of the boot camp thing. So like program with the We Think Co thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was actually pretty cool. So, I mean, by the way, you don't find a lot of ladies doing coding or programming as well.
Yeah.
So that's actually high five on that.
That's changing though.
Yeah.
Changing that.
I mean, it's very rare finding ladies in the programming sector. Even though that's not what we're talking about. By the way, guys, today we're going to be talking about growing up black. But I just wanted to touch on that, just as a highlight,
Okay.
That you are indeed in the upper echelons of society, and people do not understand this. And I mean, in all perspectives, by the way, you are in the upper echelons of society. I'm looking around. If I could just like walk over there and just turn the camera around, you instantly understand what I'm talking about. But I'm not gonna do that.
We're on the good side today. We're on the good side.
Guys, no.
We're not. We're not on the other side. Where we come.
Yeah, no, we're not on the other side, sir.
We're just outside. We're just outside.
Yeah, we outside, baby.
Yeah.
Well, in case you're wondering where we are, actually. But in this flagship podcast today, guys, as you guys know, we're here to do nothing other than amusing your beautiful ears, okay? Making them ooze with joy and just excitement, because we don't just talk about, topics that we all agree on, right?
Yeah.
We talk about, topics varying from, the goofy stuff happening in society all the way to the very sensitive stuff that's like ripping the social fabric as we know it. And today we just want to talk about a very interesting topic: growing up black, actually. And Craig, I mean, I don't know, what's your what's your take on the topic just itself?
Wow, it's a big topic. Okay, there goes Lambo.
Lambo's
also one of our
Lamborghini, literally. By the way, quick one, in case you guys, just to fill you up on what just happened here, that was Lambo, shooting right past here.
Yeah.
Okay,
she lived up to her name.
Yeah, she lives up to her name, actually.
Lost,
yeah, it's her dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally named after Lamborghinis, actually.
Really?
Yeah, my brother named her.
Really?
And he had a thing for cars at the
Cars
time.
and
Yeah.
stuff at the time. Is he still interested in Lambos?
Yeah, but he does not like this dog though. So
Why?
That's very ironic,
Another
actually.
story
'Cause
for another day, I think.
yeah. No, for sure, for sure, for sure. We'll get into that some other time. Yeah, Craig.
Okay. Getting back to what I was saying.
Yeah.
So the topic growing up black was actually just something that I thought about in passing when we were actually discussing podcast topics long ago when we were planning
Long
things.
time back.
So
yeah.
I just like thought to myself, I think it would be quite interesting to have a conversation about what it is like, growing up black. Because I
Yeah.
think we have quite a unique experience, like in the world, from like the funny mannerisms that we have, like even to like some of the folk tales which we have like growing up and stuff.
Yeah.
When they tell you like, don't describe someone like this because they remain short, or like
Yeah.
all of those type of things. But anyway, like for me,
Oh,
when
you mean like some of the stereotypes in the like black community, right?
yes,
Like, yeah,
exactly
that's
those.
certainly. I've never heard of that one before, though.
Yeah, but that one.
Yeah, actually, it's like I was told you're not allowed to like walk. Like if someone's sitting on the floor and their
Yeah.
legs are stretched out, you're not allowed
Yes,
to.
you're not allowed to walk over
them.
them.
But like I'm already short, so I was always paranoid. So people would like walk, and I'd be like, "No, you're going to make me shorter than I
Shorter
already
than already
am."
am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
Yeah.
just like as you're saying, that's one of them as well.
So what's hilarious actually about that is that for me, I didn't really grow up with a lot of stereotypes. I think even if I did, I was just like kind of like it just didn't make sense to me. I was always very
Yeah.
logical about things, and
So you didn't buy into any of the stories.
honestly, dude, I didn't. I would like
You
hear
was strong,
these kind
eh?
of things. Like, of course, it would like get into you, like as you said, right? Like somebody jumps over you and you're like, oh no, I'm never gonna grow tall again. It's
Yeah.
like this is my limit, and it's like, well, no. And then the thing is, I think the older you grow, the more you're like, actually, I just grew taller. And I remember this guy jumping over me 2 years ago, and I'm like, I don't know, 4 centimeters taller than I was last year.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, these are just superstitious things that I'm sorry, I'm diving, I'm leaping ahead. I know,
You're going in already.
I'm jumping the gun here, but all I'm saying is, to me, it never phased me, growing up.
Yeah.
Unlike, yeah.
So then, that then leads me to ask, like, for you, Tatiana, what was your experience growing up black? I kissed the mic. You saying we're joking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
guys, we have to speak like this, or
Yeah.
you can't hear us. So if you find us looking a little uncomfortable, you know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, growing up black, old wives' tales.
Yeah.
Definitely something that we still deal with today as
Yeah.
well. But I don't know. I think everybody's experience is still different, though.
Yeah, yeah.
Although there are some things that are pretty general. Somebody growing up black in New York is going to be different from someone growing up black here in South Africa.
Yeah,
And
true.
even in South Africa, it's going to be different depending
on
on
the
which
culture.
area you live in, the
I agree.
culture, and certain things, like religion.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. It's different for everybody, and I have
Sure.
my own experiences.
Yep,
So I guess that's what we're gonna talk about, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just to add on that, I second that. To also just basically kind of like piggyback on that, Craig, I think growing up black is certainly different for everybody. As for me, it was the guy growing up in the state, growing up black in the African or South African context, right, is a bit tricky, especially in South Africa. Oh my goodness, it's even worse.
Why do you
'cause-
say so?
dude, because the disparity is just so large, like between like the gap there, but like let me just say the spectrum of within the black community in South Africa is just large.
Yeah.
So it's so broad that it's just like so hard to just shrink it down to just one thing or boil it down to one thing. But the main aim today is to just maybe touch on that spectrum as much as possible, right?
Right.
So for me, growing up black, dude, was I don't want to jump into the experiences, but it was certainly not growing up white. So,
Okay, that's putting it bluntly. Okay.
yeah. But I mean, like it's I guess it doesn't summarize everything, but it does tell a broad story. But it's you're a brown skinned guy, and you're accustomed to being bullied or whatever.
And you're from the Eastern Cape. As
But
well.
from the Eastern Cape, actually, I am from the Eastern Cape. That is actually true, guys. True story. But the Eastern Cape is not so very. The government schools in the Eastern Cape, right? That's the thing. Like for me, that was me growing up black, right, in
Yeah.
high school. So it wasn't very wasn't very kind to, you know, like we weren't very like kind of like civilized to be honest with you. Like bullying was just like the meal of the day every single day. And I'm like,
How do you
God,
bullying as a
bro,
meal of
this
the
one
day?
time. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
already I'm jumping ahead here.
Okay.
This one time in high school, first time ever in high school. Now, I was never really bullied that much, to be honest, in my life. But then in high school, it wasn't really bullying, but it was more like, you know, they were toying with me because I was new in high school.
Oh, okay.
You know what these guys did, dude?
What did they
so
do?
I'm going into the men's restroom, right? And the boys, rather, restrooms. And it's my first time there. I'm like, and I think these guys were just like scouting out for people going in, right? So they were just like, like the seniors, right? They were just waiting outside, waiting for these juniors to like walk in.
Yeah.
And they just like would like stand there just waiting for you to walk in as a trap. Once you got inside, they would approach you, be like, "Hey, dude, how you doing?" Like, "Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good."
They even
Like,
ask you how
yeah.
you're
This is
doing
how
before
it
they
starts.
deal with
Yeah,
you.
yeah, what are they doing? Like, you
Courtesy,
selling it well?
courtesy,
You selling it well?
courtesy.
And I'm like, yeah, I'm selling it well. And
Well,
then they
maybe
go,
they're like, we need to know who we're gonna bully. Maybe you're already having a bad day, and
Ah.
they're like,
actually, yeah.
we need to,
We need to
check.
adjust our
Yeah.
tactics.
You're actually quite right. I think that was the tactic. You're right. You're right. Actually, I never thought of it that way before. But
Okay.
that's exactly what it was back then. Because,
Yeah.
and then what they would do, I think this one guy pulled out a pencil. He drew a bicycle on the wall
Yeah.
this one time, and then he was like, "Yeah, man, just do me a favor and just ride on that bike for me real quick."
Oh,
just
they
do
also
some
did that
cardio."
at our school. They also did
I'm
that
like-
at our school. They used to draw it on the floor. They used to draw it on the floor and you had to ride the bike. They did that
On
to
the
us
floor?
for like grade 8 initiation.
Bro,
They used to
oh
do that
my
to us.
goodness! Look at Lambo
Oh,
messing up
Lambo,
our
we
wires.
see, we see,
Lambo?
we see.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't matter. Let's just
Alright.
maybe just lift it up a little bit. Oh my goodness. There we go.
We're gonna have to put the whole podcast and post.
Lambo is gangster though. I just gotta say
Man.
she's like
She'll
I
do
just want to be
anything
part of
at
this
all
podcast.
costs
Zero.
to be in the frame.
Yeah. Like what do you gotta say? What do you actually Lambo is literally black, by the way.
Yeah, she has
Lambo-
her own
Her
experiences.
She's got some something to say about this
I
topic.
admire her tenacity. She's like, guys, I need to be in this.
She's got something to say. What do you got to say about growing up black? Oof, oof. There we go. Okay.
Okay, she's just smelling the mic.
Yeah, she did answer. That was her answer, by the way, guys. Yeah, nothing. But in any case, I mean, just like to continue on the story, you know, the moral behind it was just like super weird. It was kind of like fun too, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
Because I never did that to any of the juniors coming behind me, by the way.
yeah, that's good.
Because this one time, the second time around, he gave me, he gave me a rand.
Wait,
one
wait,
rand.
wait. Before we.
Yeah.
So when you guys said you had to ride the bike,
Yeah.
We
I don't
mean, like,
understand.
you close the bike on
As
the
in, like,
concrete.
you pull out a
and
pencil.
then like and
you
then
draw.
you have to pretend like you're riding the
so
bike.
you had to like get on your
With
side.
your blazer.
No, man,
Yeah.
that's
And you had
so
to do it.
mean.
I know.
You had to
I
do
know.
it because
Why?
obviously they would come like as a group. Of,
Yeah,
like,
as a
seniors,
group.
and then,
Because
like,
you
you're
would
this
like try
junior.
to fight those guys
Yeah,
just by
so,
yourself,
like,
Tatiana.
Even
Big
though
mistake.
like now in retrospect
Kids
you'd
are
say
so
like,
mean.
I know.
I'm so
no,
glad.
now with age, with
I feel
retrospect,
girl.
you can be like, okay, they weren't actually going to do anything, but you were scared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, it was super weird
They,
actually.
they even made one of my friends swim in the sand pit. You know the sand pit for long jumps?
Swim in the
Yeah,
sand
they were like,
Wow.
yeah, you know, like they draw the Olympic
In his
lanes.
school uniform.
Yes,
Yeah.
you
No,
swim,
guys.
boy.
How
you
did
swim.
you explain this to your parents and like, your black parents, mind you?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
go to
right.
School, go to
Oh
school.
my
Like,
God,
that's
no.
how I'm like, yeah, it was another
Let
time.
me tell you,
guys.
my mom would be like, "Fend for yourself.
Yeah.
If somebody's slapping you, slap
Slap
them
them back. If somebody hits you,
it's
hit them back. Like,
slap
that's
them the
it.
hack back. Like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna
Actually,
stand there and
yeah.
just watch somebody beat the mess out of you?
Yeah.
You know, because she's
That
just
was
like,
cool.
Yeah.
Or sometimes if it's like a father or a male figure, they'll be like, yeah,
Yeah.
Queen, and you're like, yeah, just have enough.
great, great. And it's always the male figures
It's
actually that say
always,
that.
always,
It's always the male
always.
figures. But for you, you're a lady though. What was your
Yeah.
experience like though? Kind of like
So
maybe like high
we
school or just like grown up
definitely
black.
Didn't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Sure.
Like thank God.
Lucky
Yeah.
you, I gotta
What?
say.
I'm still in shock, but that's so funny. Very creative, actually.
It is very
We love
creative and funny
bullies.
though.
Like they
You went to a
will.
boarding school or you went to like a day school?
I went to a day school, through and through, from
Oh, okay.
primary school, high school. It
Okay.
was day school, and actually first I started school in Zim, which is
Okay.
where I'm
Okay.
from.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I moved
Nice.
here in grade 3. So
Tight,
I will
tight.
say,
Oh,
like,
okay.
when I was, no, grade 2 actually. So when I was in Zim,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely didn't deal with any bullying. But I will say everybody was black, like at my school.
Sure,
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I don't remember any white people if they were there.
Sure,
I'm
sure.
sorry.
Yeah, so the white experiences here.
Yeah, actually, that's
Yeah.
when I started realizing I'm growing up black. When
Yes.
I was now seeing that there's other kids who are growing up different lifestyles, and
Yeah.
you would become friends with these kids,
Yes.
and then that's when you see when you go to their house, like things are not the
It's not the
same.
same.
It's not the same.
They ain't the same.
It's not the same. Like, for example, one thing that I used to do when I
Yeah.
come home, it's like a small thing. It's like when you get home, you immediately change out of your school uniform.
Yes, yeah.
And
Yeah,
they didn't do that. So I got to her
Yeah.
house, like my friend's house, and I'm like changing. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are
Sorry.
you taking off your clothes?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why aren't you?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's,
You guys
that's
did the
weird.
same, right,
yeah.
Davey?
No?
We did
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah. It's a black thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. Is it like hygiene? Is it like, I feel like it's like represent the day is over. The day is
Yeah.
done. We're in a new segment now.
think-
We're not.
I think it's like
School.
differentiating between home
Yeah.
and work as well.
Well, they would just run around in their school uniform until dinner, and then
Really?
like, yeah, I thought that was
That's
strange.
crazy.
So I
Yo.
didn't. I was not gonna. No, the school uniforms are uncomfortable.
Sure.
So, yeah. So I think
Yeah.
growing up black, I think I only knew that I was black when I was now surrounded by other races, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I didn't think I was black. I was just myself.
I
Yeah.
agree. That kind of like meeting people like from different backgrounds and walks of life is an eye-opening experience for sure.
Definitely.
Because for me, first time being mixed up with not only just other races but other tribes as well
Yeah.
was in university. It's all been klasa right through from primary school all the way through high school.
Yes.
So it was certainly like for me, things were certainly different at Wits. I went to Wits University, and yeah, they were just like different.
But that was similar for me too as well. Like in my high school experiences, because
yeah,
where I'm from in Benoni.
yeah,
I'm also from Zim, like how Tatiana is.
yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
I came here when I was a
Is
baby.
that why you guys are matching, by the way? And you
That's
just,
the
just
idea.
chose
That's
to.
exactly why.
That's
left
the
me
idea.
out.
No,
Okay.
this is
Idea.
not planned. We just in sync.
I
we
find
caught
that
the
very,
memo.
very hard to believe.
We caught the
Somehow,
memo.
I'm like, why did they just like randomly just go for white? I don't have a single white hoodie in my apartment too. Like it's just you guys just like went for white, and they're like exactly,
And like, when
they're
I
like
saw
so
it today, I was
identical.
like, oh, you're so identical. Oh, okay, let's go.
Anyways, continue, sir.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but then I came here like when I was a baby, so
yeah.
yeah, even and then most of my family anyways came down this side, so
Yeah.
even still having that thing of like having like a connection in terms of like going back more often.
Sure.
It wasn't really like a culture for us of like would go once in a while, but like everyone is here, so who are you going back to see?
Yeah.
So that was a bit of that. But the funny thing is that even though I basically grew up here like from a young age, it's funny to see how the culture still remained ingrained. As you were saying, the simple things like taking off your clothes like after you come back from school, or even just like the type of food like which you eat and all of that. But I'm digressing. The point I wanted to say, when you're speaking about the high school thing, I remember also like for us, the majority of people were either Zulu or Sutu. That was it. We didn't have the other tribes. We learned about the other tribes at school, but we only actually got introduced to it like once you got to varsity. It was crazy, man. I never knew which, these are Tonga people, these are Tonga people, these are petty people. So I think it was really like crazy to just see that.
Wait, this is in high school or varsity?
I'm saying in varsity, that's
Okay.
when you started to see like, the other people. So I'm just saying it's really interesting to see how your mind also just like opens up and expands as you see these people from different cultures, because then you realize that okay, there are things that are common to us in general as black people, but then there are other things like that are a bit different. You'll see it like when you hang out with your friends, go to no, the way that they do things or they handle things like this. Even when it comes to like the way we see the world, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I know like from a Shona like culture and perspective, it's a very conservative worldview.
Yeah.
Very,
very
conservative.
conservative. So it's funny, like most of the kids, like we like grow up that way, and then you grow up in a culture like here where it's not as conservative. It's becoming more and more influenced by Western culture,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a bit crazy to like navigate through that because you've got these like old school like family values which have been ingrained in you, but the place where you live in is not like that. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to see how you navigate and move through that.
That's actually funny that you say that though,
Mm.
because like you said, where you came from, like your family,
Yes.
they
Sure.
didn't necessarily change.
Yes.
But I feel like my family changed a little too quickly. Like
Really?
one thing, I don't know. Well, not everything, obviously.
Okay.
Like we're still pretty conservative.
Yes.
But like one thing that was easy for them to change was like I know in Zim, when I would visit, if I wore shorts, because then like, at some point I was from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Or pants or anything of
Or
the
leggings.
Yes,
Leggings
like it's like
are
yeah.
an abomination. Like what are you?
And they were a thing at some point. At some
Yeah.
point, leggings were like a thing. Everybody was
Exactly.
just rocking them. Every lady I knew back
Yeah.
then were like, even my sisters, they were like, leggings, everybody.
Yeah,
Let's
just
Yeah.
get inside.
leggings.
It's like, let's
But
get in
like-
leggings. Like-
in them, well, I don't know how it is now. I think things are changing, obviously.
Yes.
Mhm.
But at that time, and especially like the people who you're visiting, because if like my family is also all here, so
Yeah.
a lot of the younger people are here, and whenever we went to them, you're visiting elders.
Mhm.
So
So
have to wear
you wearing your
skirt or
leggings
dress.
and your wow, my parents didn't care. They
Oh,
said
okay.
they would like defend me. They were like, no, she's from the south. So
from
Hey.
the
I know,
south.
exactly.
From
So-
Swat.
exactly.
Swat.
Exactly. Like
Let her
leave
be.
my child.
Let her flourish.
We know you don't understand, but then it was like that inside. But then when we went out into the street, like
Yeah,
if they
yeah.
went there, they were like, okay, so we know we said this, but like
You're gonna
wear
have
the
to
long
adapt.
skirt because we don't know what's gonna happen when you're out there. Like nothing was gonna happen, but like I think they just like you don't need to shock everybody. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so that was definitely a thing for us too. It's like
Yeah.
the little small
Crazy.
things that change. Whereas here, I feel like you can wear whatever you want. Is it just
Very
me?
true.
It's not as conservative here. It's
is.
conservative black people, but not as conservative.
Yes.
So the thing is, the South African culture is definitely not conservative. Let me just say that straight up. I was about to defend it. I'm
No,
like,
but
I'm
you
trying to
can't,
run.
You
So-
can't. If you're honest, you
I'm
can't.
trying to run through like
Yeah.
situations where like people are like conservative. But here's the thing though.
Yeah.
If you go to the rural South Africa, right?
Yes,
that's
yes,
where you
that's very
find conservativeness, right?
Yes.
Right, if that's even a word. But that's where you find it really, living and breathing. That's where conservativeness. Oh my goodness, lives
English
and
bundles
breathes.
are finishing, but it's okay. Continue.
Yeah, English bundles are finishing. But it's very rural areas are very, it's kind of like sort of like outdated things like that,
Yes.
and most people really don't like going to the rurals now. I mean, I didn't go to the rural areas. I was like, pass,
Yeah.
not this year. I'm
Very
good.
pass.
Well,
This
last
one
year
goes
that
in.
is, but really, I mean, family in the rural areas. Actually, here's the thing: my generation, the millennials, right after 1990. They don't normally, if they do go to rural areas, they don't, most of them, even where I'm from, they don't live in the rural areas. They live in the, sort of like semi-urban
areas,
areas, kind of like townships, kind of vibes, or even in the suburbs, actually. So when people go to the rural areas, it's really just visiting grandma and granddad.
Yeah.
But it's like nobody likes living there for more than 5 days.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
I'm capping it at 2
Because people are
days.
like,
Yeah.
where's Wi-Fi?
No, dude.
Yeah.
No, in my grandma's house actually, there was no TV. The network was bad. You couldn't reach anybody up there in the mountains.
It was bad.
It was cool though because it was up in the mountains, so
Yeah.
you'd see the snow, just yonder essentially. But
Crazy.
it was really, for me, it was never.
You didn't see
very-
yourself there.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it. It was
Yeah.
never amusing. I love my grandma, to death. But I would just always like make it known to her, like, Granny, I love you, but I'm not staying here
Gotta
for more than
bounce, I
5
gotta
days.
bounce.
I gotta leave. So that's the only conservative part of South Africa that I think still exists.
Yeah.
Anything else is just false. If somebody tells you you're gonna find conservative South Africans in Sandton City, in Bryanston, go away. I'm gonna shoot you dead
Yeah.
right now. Punch you in the mouth
Lol.
because it's a lie.
Mm.
I just don't think that we're South African. I just don't think we're conservative anymore.
Yeah.
I think we're very westernized, and it shows. I mean, it shows in university. I think it starts in university.
Very
Yeah.
true.
It starts in university.
On that point, my worldview was shocked, like and rocked. When I got to varsity, like you get
Yeah.
there and then like everything
It gets
is so
shaken,
free.
sir.
Because even though like we can say like in general there's not that level of conservativeness, but we still come from a place like even like when we were growing up in Benoni, that like it would be a thing that if you'd see something that was other out of the normal, it would be like, what's going on here? But then at like places like Wits and all of that, you hear things like inclusion and all of these things, and you're like, what's going on? Like,
But
and
I like how it gave you the freedom of choice, though, because
Yeah.
I feel like that was just too. Because if you grew up with just black, because I think the thing is there was no need for you to talk about inclusion and things like that, though, in the
Yeah.
rural areas where everybody's just
Where
black
everyone
and
looks
like
the
you.
same, yeah.
yeah.
Like it's already included in the culture, though,
Yeah.
right there. So there is no need for that. But when you got like people from various walks of life,
Yeah.
Yes.
what they're trying to, I think, prevent in varsity was that othering that kept happening in varsity
and kind of closed-mindedness.
and closed-mindedness. It was still there. I mean, I think it's still there, honestly, where you find a certain like people mostly just gravitate toward people who look like them,
Yeah.
right? If you're like, okay, they look kind of class up, maybe like let me go talk, or maybe if they even sound just remotely just a little bit class up, I'm gonna associate myself with those people. So, but for me, I was just like, to hell with that nonsense. I'm going all out. I'm talking to everybody. But that was just me. And obviously, you're perceived as weird or whatever and quirky if you're like that, or outgoing. But I was just like,
But we were in the same class, AV. I don't know
We
which
were.
other people you met who were of different cultures. Because in our class, funny enough, like 95% of the class is black.
oh, in construction.
Yeah, in construction. Yeah,
So-
like let's not lie. Most of the class is black. And for me, that was where it was like funny. Because in high school, even in primary school, we had like white kids. We actually went to schools where most black people were minority. And then white people were majority.
Yeah.
And then when I went to Viz, it was the opposite way around.
Do you feel like you got like a culture shock from how many black people were in your class? Because
Yes,
I
did. I did.
From-
I was like,
compared to
no,
high school, I was
I
like-
did. I did. Even though in high school, I went
What?
through transitions.
Yeah.
I hung out with white kids, and I also hung out. But I hung out with everyone. I hung out with white kids. I hung out with Indian kids, and then like I also hung out with black kids. Whereas like in Viz, it was like you can only hang out with black kids because
Yeah.
those are the only people in my class.
In fact, that's when I started actually having more black friends. It
Yes.
was like after high school, during uni and stuff. Yeah, definitely.
It's funny. For me, it was actually the complete opposite. To me, I was shocked we had white folks in my class to begin with. I was like, what? White folks? Why are they here? What are they doing here?
from?
Where do they come from?
Which corner did they come
Yeah, dude, it was just so. It was really, really. That was a culture shock for me, because that was the shock. I was like, what are they doing here? I mean, I could see they're a minority, but like, still, what are they? They should be. They shouldn't be where I am. Is the kind of mindset I was at the time. But then, as time went on, I was like, this is how the world works, guys.
Yeah.
This is how the real world works. I was closed out in a little canteen back home in the Eastern Cape, but now I'm starting to see the real world, which is why I think most black parents are always just so traumatized when you're like, I'm going to varsity and I'm going far, far away from you, Mom. And they're like, don't go so far. Just find a university nearby around the corner.
Nearby.
They're like, well, that university doesn't have what I want to study.
Yes.
And so I think there were just a lot of, the culture shock for me just came from that, just that alone. Like seeing just a lot of, Indians, white folks, colored folks. I was like,
Yes.
that was never a reality for me, period. In high school, it was just, as I said, black folks, and also the different languages, which I actually like the diversity that's in Johannesburg, guys. You don't understand.
Yes.
I fell in love with it,
Yeah.
for me personally. I just fell in love with it. I was just like, I love this. Like, we didn't have any of this growing up, like hearing somebody speak a different language
Yeah.
was just weird, dude. It was just so weird.
It was
Like,
weird.
what
You guys
language
are
is
pretty
this? I'm like, you're
enclosed,
black,
dude.
but you don't speak like I speak. but I'm not trying to say I was like super closed off. I knew there were like different languages, Tswana,
Okay.
Sutu, but
To
like
experience it is different.
in person, yeah,
Yeah,
because you'd
yeah,
see these
yeah.
things on TV, but it's like, yeah, they're speaking Tswana, but in TV,
Yeah.
right? So on TV, I mean, but I was like, yeah, when that first happened to me, hearing somebody speak Tswana or Pedi or Sutu or Sangha or Venda, I was like, you need to teach me that language right there, man. Let's
Have
learn
you
it
teach me that
today,
language?
now. Let's open the books. So that was a culture shock for me, actually, just to answer your question there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's what like I still have actually some very weird memories as well growing up, both growing up black as well as in varsity, as just as a black kid in varsity. But let's start with your experiences though, Tatiana. What are some of the like maybe funniest memories that you remember,
Yeah.
or
Growing up black.
quirky? Yeah,
Yeah.
both in varsity and
And
just
just in general. Okay, in
Yeah.
varsity and in general.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the languages only started to hit me like in varsity actually, because like I said, I was surrounded by so many white people. We were just always speaking English.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it not even Afrikaans actually. We had very few.
You guys didn't do Afrikaans as
We
a additional language.
Yeah, but like they were struggling with us too. They weren't
Nah.
that many
And then
Afrikaans
there was
kids.
that robbed
Yeah,
me as well in
yeah.
school. I was like, I'm doing better than you, and this is
Yeah,
this is-
exactly.
you're supposed to.
Exactly.
Bro, what's
Someone
going
like
on,
Tatiana,
Jonathan? Come
What
on.
does this mean? And I'm like, bruh,
Yeah.
for real? You gonna ask
And
me?
it's like Jonah,
Yeah,
Jonah.
exactly. So that's actually
Wait,
when I
you're
got,
saying
like-
an Afrikaans kids would ask?
no, not Afrikaans kids, like other white people
Other white
aren't
kids, you'd
Afrikaans
expect
kids. Yeah.
them to know.
Because I think.
Oh, you mean,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you mean Afrikaners or like
Just
like
white.
English speak?
Just,
Okay,
yeah,
just
like
okay,
English speaking.
okay. Anyway,
Because I don't
okay,
think
gotcha.
they're all Afrikaans. So.
Yeah.
In fact, the majority of the ones who went to my school weren't. It was very few that were actually Afrikaans.
Okay, yeah.
So that was like how it was. So the majority of time we were speaking in English, and then when I got to
Yes.
uni and I started hearing all these other languages, I actually felt a little bit othered. Like I just
Yeah, I was about
people
to
would
ask
expect
that.
me to speak too, like especially
Yeah.
Zulu. Like people just
Yeah.
expect you to know Zulu, and I didn't because I didn't grow up in an environment where
Oh, okay.
anybody was speaking that
Speaking
much
the
Zulu,
language,
yeah.
despite being
Even
here.
in primary school.
Even in primary school, I was
Serious?
still like the primary school I went to was like across the road from my high school, bro. The same kids who went there.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like-
I was still in the same area.
Yeah,
In the
'cause I
same
think
neighborhood, right
government
here.
Schools, you're supposed to go to the school within your area, within like
Oh yeah,
specific
within your
kilometer
radius. Yes.
So that's why I just
But
went.
was
to
it Model
schools.
C or private?
What's Model C, guys?
Oh
I went.
no,
What's
no,
Model C?
No,
Huh?
no. She doesn't
What's
even
Model
know
C?
what
Is
it
she
is.
asking
Model
us
C?
what Model C is?
I
No,
have no idea.
no. I'm sure you've got government,
Yeah.
and then you've got Model C. Model C is a combination of government subsidy and parents who pay school fees. That sponsors the
That's
school.
probably
And
what
then
it
you've
was.
got private
then.
school, which is completely
Private.
private.
Really?
Like
So,
completely
like,
parent.
all these Crawford and all these.
So which
See,
other-
category
I
do you
just
fit
showed
under?
up. I said, "Hello, I'm here to learn." I didn't care where if it was like. Actually, I think there was a point where I had the choice. Do you want to go to a private school? Do you want to go to? And I wanted to go where my friends went. My mom's like, "Are you on crack?" And I was like,
Yeah, you're
well,
on crack.
I mean, I don't care about things like that because
Yes.
I'm 7. I'm like, I don't, not 7. I mean, grade 7.
Okay.
So I don't care. But like, so when I went to, I think it was a Model C school.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when all the changes started happening in uni, when I started realizing like I can't speak the language, I don't know what to do. But
Okay.
people would come up to you and they'd be like, Sunny Banani, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
hey, how are you, like? And then they'd ask me questions, and then now you have to explain that
Oh,
I'm
okay.
black, but I'm not South African.
That's very interesting.
And then yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and that doesn't
That's weird to
always
South
matter
Africans,
to
by the way,
people. Yeah,
for us to hear.
Yes.
it's so weird to them,
Yeah.
but it's fine. Eventually, they get used to it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
then, actually, not really. They would still
Yeah,
speak to me
not
in their
really.
language, like, and I would. You just start to be like, okay, I think I get the gist of what you're saying.
Okay.
But yeah, it was still fun though, and you start
Yeah.
learning new things. So
But don't you think in some type of way that also helped you in being able to connect with people like from other cultures as well? Because I think it goes back to like, yeah, the joke we're making about the white people, they don't know how to speak Afrikaans. I think that's what's interesting about people
Yeah,
who come
yeah,
from
yeah,
like who are black, is that even though you've got your language and then you've got, you know, what you're used to and what you speak, you are interacting with people like from different cultures as well and speak different languages. So over time, I forget what they call it. It's this fancy word. I forget it. Doesn't matter. But they were just saying that over time you become the person who's able to actually connect with people of different cultures because you're exposing yourself to people speaking different languages who live a different lifestyle. So you're able to adapt and connect with people in a better way than someone who grows up only in one sphere, going one direction and only speaks a certain language and only interacts with a certain group of people.
Sure.
So yeah.
I think it also depends on how much you care, though.
Yeah.
Because I
it's
feel
all about
like,
willingness.
I mean, I was not the only Zimbabwean in my
Really?
school, and I feel like no,
Really?
we're a lot.
You guys,
We're a lot.
your experience was different from mine.
Really?
I literally went to primary school. There was none. In high school.
No, not
Yeah.
in uni. That's
Oh.
when I started meeting Moses.
Even in
No?
uni, there was only Walter.
Oh, yeah,
and the other guy. But the
Riera.
other guy left. He left.
Who?
He left after second year. I forget his name.
Was McQueen actually not from Zimbabwe, dude?
Who's McQueen?
McQueen?
No, McQueen wasn't from Zimbabwe. I think he was from like Namibia or something. The colored guy.
The colored guy. McQueen's not colored.
Man, there's that guy who's like he's colored, so he looked colored.
Yeah, he kind of looked colored, but he was...
McQueen wasn't from Zim.
Oh, okay. I thought it was from Zim.
He wasn't, and I think I didn't know his story. It was just
Go ahead,
some
sir.
guy in jail. But then there was only Walter, and then there was the other guy. He ended up leaving. I forget his name. Yeah, and then that was my experience. Same in high school. I was the only one until my roommate. Okay, he became my roommate in varsity. But then, until he came like around grade 9, and then there was 2 of us, and then there was only one other guy.
Yeah.
That was it. So I didn't know. The only Shona people I knew was family, an extended family. So then...
Okay, so when I say a lot, right, I mean in general. But obviously, like, it's not like I was surrounded by, like, 20 other Zimbabweans in my class alone.
Okay.
But, like you said, you connect with people that are like you. So
Yes.
Yeah.
if I did meet someone who was like, I think my friend, I found her, she was speaking on the phone in Shona, and I was so happy. Like, I don't, like, maybe if we were in Zim, I would never talk to you. But just because of that connection, I was like, okay, cool. I found someone who I can connect to. And like I wanted to learn about people's cultures. So I was like, oh, so you're Petty? Where are you from? Like, oh, how does it work? Like, how do you... I can't pronounce that. And then I'd be like, okay, I give up. And then, but like with her, she was like, I cannot be bothered. I don't want to know. And I was like, that's fair.
Okay.
But like, so I think it depends also on how much you care, whether or not you're going to be learning anything from other people's cultures.
Yeah.
Not just because you're black doesn't mean you care about other people's cultures. And I think that's also like parents do that sometimes. No, like the older black people, like I feel like they're like, I've learned enough. I don't need more. And sometimes like that in itself can be a problem. At least for me it was, because now what happens is, if my parents are not mingling with other people from other cultures, at what point am I going to get to mingle with people from other cultures?
Sure.
And I think that's why I didn't learn as many languages, because like I know people from Zim who speak all the South African languages and I speak none.
Yeah.
Why? Where were you? So
I
exactly. So I think that's another thing.
Was
I
it
don't know.
like for you? Was it because that like only like the Shona language was championed, and then everything else was like, you don't need it.
Exactly
Oh,
that.
okay.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's like common to just stick to what you know.
Yeah.
I think that comes
Okay.
down to just being conservative as
Sure.
well. Yeah.
I agree.
I
So
was gonna
wait,
ask
you're,
another question, but go ahead. Say
you want to ask another question,
Go
but
ahead, go
but your
ahead.
base language is Shauna, right? You're
Yeah.
like you're okay. But right now you still are you multilingual in terms of
Ooh,
like
that's another thing. Okay, so
or yeah?
my Shona it's going. It's
It's
finishing.
it's fading.
it's
I feel like
finishing.
I spoke
Going
better
away.
Shona when I was like a child than compared to
she's
now.
onto something there,
Yeah.
because I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Even with us in our household, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm not fantastic,
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
okay
yeah,
now.
yeah.
I'm okay.
With what?
You understand, you can respond.
No,
Shauna
I can
or-
speak, I can
You
speak,
can
I can
speak
speak.
properly,
But there
yeah.
are some ways where it's like, when you go, like when you go home. And
It's
then,
Shauna, bro.
Yeah, like when you go
Okay.
home and then like you're with old people, they speak the real one. Because we mix it with English, they mix it with slang as well. When you go home,
It's the
and you're
real
like,
one.
I've not heard that word before. I've not heard that word before. So that's when you see. And the funny thing
I can
is that
relate, man.
it becomes a thing of like my siblings, they don't speak Shona.
Yeah, mine
They
too.
only can hear.
Really,
But
Tenji
they
and
don't-
Luga.
they don't speak- those those ones were born here, as good as
Yeah.
South African.
Oh
You always
no.
make fun of them. They're like, "Oh, you guys are South African."
Yeah.
And and that's also like a tension as well. Like even I know I'm going off tangent, but it's just I wanted to mention. It's also a tension as well that sometimes when people go to another place or go to another country as well, you don't think about those things that as well. You might lose also some of your culture because there's the reality that what if Tatiana marries someone from here? She's going to have to make a compromise. Like when they're raising kids, she can't just be speaking her language to the kids only, but the husband doesn't understand her.
In
So
fact,
there's
they're
a-
more likely to just assimilate into this. Like they're gonna
see.
be South African
They're
at
probably
this
Yeah.
gonna be
point.
South
Yeah.
African as well. And even my uncle who
I
passed
agree.
away, he married someone. Okay, that's funny because he was actually half South African anyway. Because his mom was from here, but his father was from Zim. And
Okay.
then he married. He's also closer. And then he married.
Really?
Someone, yeah. And then he
Oh,
married.
tight.
Yeah. And then he married someone from here. And then his
Yeah.
kids. His kids, like our cousins, they're like completely South African. They stay in Soweto. They speak Sutu and like it's crazy, man. Like you just end
Yeah.
up assimilating into the culture, and it's also man. It's a bit of a fight because it's like, do you go to a different place so that you can give your kids better opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
but at the cost of losing some of your culture, or man.
It's a bit of a trade-off, right? But you just got me thinking about something else, actually, the multiracial kind of dating arena, whatever, and
Yeah.
things like that. Like actually, but here's a question: though. Which tribe in South Africa? We've got these many tribes. We got the Tswanas, we got Sutus, we got Pitis, we got
Ndebele.
Debeles, we got Zulus, we got Xhosas, we've got
And
Vendas,
Yeah.
we've got
Swati.
Tongas, sorry.
We've got Swati as well.
Swatis, yeah.
it's a lot.
It is a lot. But which of these 9 right here do you think are
You want to get us
more
in
conservative
trouble.
than the other?
Oh, I
Oh,
thought he was
okay,
gonna
okay,
say
okay.
something.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
don't go there, don't go there. You're gonna get us canceled.
You guys
Don't
are
go
always
there.
at the same frequency. I just don't get it. You guys just like, no. You just,
Like,
yeah.
like,
Anyway,
don't go there.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, no, let her go. The lady
Which
should
is
speak.
more
She's
conservative
actually
out
the
of these
guest, she should
9
speak, yeah.
right here? Have you, like, from your observations, you're looking, at the
That's
spectrum.
a tough one because I don't know. It's not like every time I interact with people, I know where they're from and what they are.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I'm gonna say not petty.
She's just
Not
like not
pretty.
petty.
No.
Starting with the process of elimination.
I think elimination is best.
Yeah.
Not Swati.
Not
I-
Zulu
I-
either, honestly.
Maybe Venda,
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think
slowly,
they're
yeah.
pretty similar to Shona people.
Yes,
I
Yes.
don't know though. I
because
don't
they're
know.
probably even more conservative than even the Tsonga guys. Tsonga guys
Yeah.
are also conservative and
Yeah.
very cultural.
Yeah.
But I feel like the vendors are like the ones who still keep it like, hey man, they keep it. You remember Wabudi, Mos? You remember Wabudi?
I remember
Like,
Woody.
yeah,
Yeah.
like even here, like even in the culture, they still do the thing of like, you fall. I don't know if you can say you fall down before the husband or like you lie down.
Oh yeah, you do.
Like you lie
what
down.
do you
Like,
get?
that's
Do you
the-
do like
it's the way
the?
of showing respect. You
Oh,
lie
wait.
down.
You lie like on your side or
Yeah,
what?
Yeah,
what do
they
you
lie like
mean?
on their side, like for the
Where?
husband, like as a way of like,
Where?
respect.
In front of him.
It's like a
the
greeting,
husband
like
sits
when you're
like you're
greeting-
sitting
Like
right
he
now.
comes home
and
and,
they
you
just,
lie
like,
down on the ground.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, like
I'm not gonna do it though, but like
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
Wow,
Right here.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Okay.
Even Lambo just was.
They don't do
like,
it every time, but it's like they do it in the presence of, for example, of like royalty, like a chief, or even like your
Ah,
husband
okay,
as
okay.
well, if you want to show him honor.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think they also do that maybe in some of the ceremonies which they have, like leading up to marriage as well. I think they're like,
That's quite interesting.
It is very interesting. I agree with the both of y'all actually on that one. Venda folks, I've got a Venda friend actually. Boy, is he not conservative actually. He is just the opposite. But the culture itself though, like the people, from the Venda tribe are very, very conservative
yes,
compared to, because I think most of the tribes have become very progressive over the years.
yes, that's true.
But they've become less, like in terms of just like things that you hold dear, culturally
Yes.
speaking, they're more like dominant in that space, to be honest. But in any case, diving into the next kind of like juicy kind of, I guess, topic, but like I just want to hear about funny moments. You growing up black. Like what are? I'll start by the way about funny moments growing up black. Going back to the uniform thing you mentioned, that actually got me thinking. One time, my twin sister, she brought her friend home, right? So back at our house, back in the Eastern Cape. Now as we're in the EC, like our friend is here in the house. Obviously, she doesn't change into any clothes because none of my sister's clothes could fit, into her friend because she was very very tiny and very skinny, kind of like modelish, kind of like looking. In any case, so she's chilling there with my twin, and so I'm already changed, right? I'm in my home clothes, right? As you know, that's actually, I think it's just across the board. Like every single black family would just like change into like, like you don't stay in your school uniform the entire day. In fact, you not only do you undress and put it away, but you also wash your shirt back home. My mom is a little extra. She was like, wash your shirt and your socks every single day. You hang them up there, iron them up in the morning, get ready. And I'm like, oh, man. Obviously, even though it was like different shirts, you would iron your shirt maybe like every Thursday. But in any case, that's beside the story. Here's more as a story. My mom gets back home way earlier than 5 o'clock she normally does. She finds my twin sister's friend there, dressed up in her school uniform.
Yeah.
So she knows this is just after school. What is she then doing here at 4 o'clock? And she literally beat the mess out of them both, actually.
Seriously.
Bro, I'm telling
Both
you.
of them.
Both of them.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Because not only did my twin sister break the rule,
Yeah.
the house rule was like, you don't send anybody into the living room, by the way. This is what I meant by, we're very different, you and I, because you guys are kind of like very chill over here. But back home, like, mom is like, do not bring your friends over to like the living room area. You keep them in the kitchen or
Oh,
wherever
that's really interesting.
Yeah, it's like you don't go past the kitchen.
Okay.
And it's funny, I never got to ask my mom that actually, because she like I just never got to ask her like why don't people just go past the kitchen area, like into the living room or like the dining room area. She was just like, no, keep him there. And yeah, it was funny because when I was in varsity, she kind of like let those boundaries down a little bit, because then I would see her inviting my friends over into the lounge area. But like, yeah, offer them some cookies, let them sit around in the lounge area, get some TV on. I'm like, when did this change now all of a sudden? I mean, like, you used to be like, I'm going to beat the mess out of you.
Now she's loosening up.
Yeah, we learned a lot for it. Because my twin, man, her and her friend, actually, because she went back home not looking so good. She was looking all crusty and stuff. The uniform was turned all the way back. It was, and the thing is, that's the thing. Now you're probably thinking, you don't have authority beating somebody else's child.
Yes.
I know.
But this is black
You're probably
culture.
thinking that.
Everyone's kids is our kids.
Yeah.
They're gonna hit you and hit your kids.
Yeah. So, but that's the culture back home. It's like, like her parent. The thing is, she didn't even report the incident to her parents because she knew it was like a universal thing back then. Like,
because her parents would have probably supported your parents.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. You should have.
You should.
Yes.
You should have beat her even more. Actually, like, teach her a lesson. And so that was actually pretty hilarious for me. And but ones that affected me though, I'm gonna share those kind of later. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to share your quirkiest moments.
Go ahead, Tits.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of funny stories, but it's funny that you speak of like strict rules growing up, right?
Yeah.
I think I really struggled with that, like being, especially in high school specifically, because I think high school is when I was like, I'm black, right?
Yeah.
So I think one thing that I noticed is like I can't just go out every weekend, and they would be like, do you want to come to my house? And I'm like, sure. When next year do you want me to come to your house? And they were like, no, like today. And I'm like, sure, you can ask my mom. And I used to do this thing where I put my mom on the spot because that's the only way it's gonna happen. Otherwise, the answer is no. She was like, no, we don't just go to people's houses. I was lucky that I even could go to people's houses. Some people are not allowed to. They were like, no, you're gonna die. You're gonna get murdered.
Yes.
So
Everyone's gonna get murdered.
They'll put something in your food.
Exactly.
Like, don't eat it at other people's houses.
Those superstitions.
Those superstitions,
Yeah.
bruh.
Actually, that's so true. I wasn't allowed to wear my friend's clothes, and that's what actually was the problem.
Oh,
Was that,
okay.
in fact, now I've got a funny story for you.
Yeah.
So I did eventually go to my friend's house. We got permission. Praise the Lord. I don't know how it happened.
The heavens
And
open.
Praise the
exactly.
Lord, we don't know how
I
that
think
happened.
it's because I put her on the spot, so she
Yeah.
didn't wanna. So she doesn't want to be embarrassed in front of people who are not black. So she's like,
Oh, I got you.
yes, you can go. But I knew, like, when I get home, I'm gonna deal with the
Gonna get a
consequences. of
lecture.
what I've done. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I go to her house, but I know I'm not allowed to wear other people's clothes.
Sure, sure,
Oh,
sure.
okay.
But like, I'm also not going to be staying at home all
Yeah.
day in my school
Yeah.
uniform. So I was like, I'm gonna wear these clothes, and these are
Yeah.
some nice clothes. I'm gonna put these clothes on. She's like, yeah, you can even have them. Blah blah blah. So I'm like, cool. So I go home, and I forgot I'm not allowed to wear people's clothes because it's like a rule that they say and you forget. It's an old wives' tale.
Yeah.
And then so I come home and
It
mom's
is.
like, what you wearing?
We had that. Yeah.
Where'd you get that
Oh my
from?
god. Where'd you get that hoodie
Where'd
from?
you get it?
That's a new hoodie.
Exactly.
And they asked me
exactly
casually
that.
at first. Like, that's a
Exactly
new
that.
hoodie.
And they were like, oh no, it's mine.
Yours.
And they're like, but so you knew
That's
you
such a
were
bad your friend,
it's
dude.
mine.
I
And she's
know.
like, I know I
Oh.
She
didn't buy
knew, I know.
it.
At some point, I did tell the truth, but like I was like, no,
mine.
it's mine, it's mine. And she's like, no. At what point in this life have you ever bought your own clothes?
Yeah.
So I was just like,
At your age.
yeah. So
Yeah.
at some point, I was like, okay, no, I'm sorry. I just had to because I didn't want to be, because she wasn't black, she was colored, but like same thing. They don't
Sure.
Yeah.
wear their clothes
Yeah.
at home, so she took her school uniform off, and so did I. So like now I'm coming home, I'm wearing her clothes, and this became such an issue because she wanted me to return the clothes right away. Like she didn't want the clothes
Oh.
to stay in her house.
Yes.
It was very odd, actually. It
That's
was
crazy.
very strange.
Dude.
That's
Yeah, it was,
crazy.
but like I think at some point she got over it, and then she was just like, no, it's fine. But like
Yeah.
I don't understand, like the old wives' tales. They
Legit.
don't add up.
Legit, my mom was exactly the same way, you
Yeah.
guys. Like, this what. And it was always my twin sister getting in trouble for bringing over somebody else's clothes. And she'd be like, who's this? Return it now.
Now.
It's like
Yeah.
7 p.m., Mom. They're like preparing for like, I don't know,
I
for
think
like
if it was up
you
to
to
them,
go to
you would
bed.
take your clothes off while you're there, and just like go home like that. Like if it was.
Dude, like African parents would ask you ridiculous things. They're like, return, like, what do you, can it wait till tomorrow, Mom? No, you need to return it. Now, you can't sleep here tonight. Yeah, and if it does sleep over, you're going to get a beating, the next day.
Yeah.
Just know that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you, how were the beatings? Was it like, getting beaten with a
Yeah,
belt?
beating.
Or was it
Nah.
like,
Nah, my
you go and
mom-
fetch the small
Nah,
stick
she-
from the tree? And then
Nah.
like,
Now, she wasn't as extensive as other, parents that have heard, like, hey, man, other people throw, like, glasses at you, bro. Like, it's crazy. She
That's
wasn't that
gangster.
extensive. But she would, though, pinch you.
pinch you.
Dude, on your
weird.
thighs, no less, dude.
That might be worse though.
It's
I think.
Ooh,
That's
I'm
weird. Like
telling
your mom
you.
just pinch you. That's
You
weird. That's weird.
Bro,
I think
she
it's
had
the shock
she
that
had
would
no
get
Oh,
nails, but I'm telling you, like
Oh,
if
I'm
I were
like,
if I were to do you see
Yeah,
that right there?
yeah.
I was attempting to pinch you, but I didn't. But I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
you felt it. You're like, but now
That's an
imagine
interesting
somebody,
way of corporal punishment.
dude.
giving me
And the
ideas
thing
for
is,
the
my
future.
mom was, dude. She was.
Are you taking notes?
Pinch my kids like, hey, you wanna come here? You.
But
she-
she would use two methods though. One was pinching, and two was
Lord.
beating using like an in-house weapon though.
Your
But-
mom's
but-
an OG, man. I'm so
Dude, I'm
laughing.
telling you. But she would like wait for you guys to go to bed though, so she could get you.
When
Like,
you're not
that-
listening,
yeah.
she's a gangster.
When you're most vulnerable,
Oh, bro.
she just like, bruh, T, I'm telling you, my mom would just like walk up, she'd like lift over the blanket, and like, and
your
there was just
weakest
somebody
point.
just touching you. And be like, what's going on? And then, dude, you just hear, and then you go,
That is so.
bro,
That's
Yeah, it
crazy,
was-
man. Yeah.
dude, it was hilarious, man, because she would pinch you in your sleep. So basically, you're waking up with like, so as you wake up, you're waking up with these like scars down your
Yeah.
thighs, like this pinching marks and stuff like that, because she had no nails, so you could clearly see her pinching like marks on your thighs.
Okay.
Right, but they'll like fade away though after I don't know, like 3 days or whatever. But I'm telling you, it was like
that's
if
an
you
intense.
didn't like,
That's
That,
intense.
that's
man.
I've never been pinched and I'm so,
like
yeah.
I'm
She
just
got
thinking about the methodology,
The
man.
method,
She's like, I'm gonna wait till you sleep. Once you're in bed, then I'm gonna come for
gonna
you.
and I'm
get
gonna
you.
come for you. So
No.
that was like super funny and like super weird. Like every time I think of my mom, I'm like, what was she thinking though? Like
Yeah.
also, who told her to go for the thighs? Like, who told her
Yeah.
the thighs are the most sensitive part of the body to pinch?
Yeah.
Because they really are, you guys. As soon as somebody, I don't want somebody touching my lower body.
Yeah.
Like, please, because it just reminds me at that moment.
Of
Like,
those days.
yeah, those
No.
days are just
The
like,
flashbacks
Yeah.
come back.
dude, do not pinch me, please. So yeah,
Growing
it
up
was
black
mostly
doesn't
pinching for
come
her.
without a little bit of trauma. Like,
Nah.
there's no way.
Yeah.
Well, I think growing up in general doesn't, so it's fine. Yeah.
But what about you though, T? Did you never
Corporal
got
punishment. Oof,
beat
guys.
grade
What
up?
was your corporal punishment?
Nah, I used to get beat like proper. But the thing is,
Uh,
I was a
proper.
really
Like
good kid. I was
Yeah.
a good kid though. So
Really?
no, I've always been a good kid. I think
I was
I
a
don't know. I just
rascal.
didn't do
I've been a
anything I
good-
shouldn't
yeah,
do.
yeah, you've been a
I was
rascal.
a rascal.
You.
Really?
No, okay, when I was younger, when
When
I was
you were
much
younger,
I was
yeah.
a rascal. I used to get beaten all the time. And I look at my younger brother, I'm like, they don't beat you, man. Yeah, I used to get beaten.
That's
yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
My brothers are rascals, but they don't
Yes.
get beaten the way I used to. So I'm always like, what? I feel like
But
the-
you're the
I don't
best
know.
child of the
I'm
house, essentially.
definitely the best child. In fact,
I
my
think it's
dad's
a
over
thing
there.
of
I think
changing times.
he can confirm for us.
You get
but
good
yeah,
for yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely the change of the times, and obviously, like moving here,
Yes.
it was much more frowned upon because I feel like even in schools, you could get it. Like
Yes.
if you are acting up, you could get it. Fortunately, not at my school when I
Yeah.
was in Zim. I
Alright,
was
yeah.
very lucky, but like. I would get in trouble for small things like you lost your blazer.
Yeah, and then
And like I get
yeah.
it was expensive, but I didn't do it on purpose. So for me, I was like I used to think a lot
Yeah.
and like I didn't even feel the pain of the beating. Yes, I did. Okay, I did.
Yeah.
But like afterwards I'd be like I didn't deserve that. Like that was
She
me.
was
I
like,
said,
I
I
didn't
didn't
know you
deserve
were
that.
reasoning. You're
I
like,
deserve that. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're firstborn?
Firstborn.
No wonder.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's
so
also
Yeah,
firstborn.
firstborn as
I'm
well.
lastborn, so
Yeah.
Oh, and I tell them I was like I would
you guys are
deserve
just
it.
like
yeah.
So
You keep-
last one,
I don't know,
These
but
guys-
I'll stop.
like
I'll
you know, AV, like you
Yeah.
know what my mom used to. My mom was a gangster. She used to say, "You go and pick your weapon of choice for me to."
Oh
punish you."
no, that's the
She
worst.
was like,
thing.
"You go and get the
Oh,
one
no.
with the tree." She's like, "If you don't come
My
back
mom
with
would
the right
ask
one."
another sibling to do it for you.
She's now to making you guys turn on
Yeah.
each other.
No,
Turn
and
on
you
each
would go-
other, dude.
Actually,
No
you would
ways,
be like,
man.
"Let me get this
Oh.
belt," and you'd like,
Let me test it.
depending on my mood with my brother. I was like,
Sure,
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
sure. Oh my god. It,
No, but I think that's worse.
hey.
Crazy. And then if you pick the wrong one,
No black
she's
parents.
like, "I will come and pick it." So make sure you choose the right
The
one.
right one.
So it's like, what's going on here, lady?
But
Yeah.
obviously, kids will always choose the lighter kind of like weapon though, and like, but for me,
But
I
you knew it was coming, so you just had to like
Yeah.
do it anyway. So yeah.
Do you think
Oh,
they
man, Craig.
made you pick it because they actually felt bad and they were like, maybe it's not as bad if they get to pick?
Nah,
Or
I
do you
think it
think
was
they
just
just
making
trying to
I think
traumatize
it was
you?
more so that thing, like you know, when it's like they want you to understand the consequences of what you've done.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
I want you to think about it as you're going there to go
Yeah,
fetch it. Yeah, I want
yeah.
you to think about that, so that next time you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to choose my weapon. So let me just behave this time.
Oh, I had brothers
So,
who'd
yeah.
tell them like, no,
Yeah, really.
I'm not getting a belt, and then it would actually end there a lot
Really?
of the time. It would like they'd be like, okay, fine. So you understand what you've done. I feel like my parents were low key like, okay,
Really.
different breed, but it's because I was too good. That's the
Okay.
problem.
Oh, it's
So
too
they
good
didn't
to be true.
expect.
Oh my
yeah.
But I think,
Goodness.
it's always like that. The firstborn
Yeah.
is like you're the experiment. So
Yeah.
it's like there's all the boundaries
Yeah.
and everything. Like you
We
need to
are
make
the
sure we don't make a
experiment.
mistake with this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
And then thereafter they're like, the prototype worked. These ones
Yeah.
we just let them roam around free.
I can't stop smiling because these stories, they're just like such a true reflection
Yeah.
of like freaking me growing up, you guys. Like it's just so, yeah, it's just, I'm reminiscent at this point. In any case, talking about like, you know, mom, dad beating you up, whatever
Yeah.
though, how would they perceive you, like you in your like romantic life? Were they involved? Were they not involved? What was their take on it? Did you get any advice from them? Did you get
That
any?
tets, it's on you.
No, I think
Yeah,
I,
no,
I
no, you
started
have to
that
let it
high
go with
end.
you.
Then we had to take a breath.
Yo,
So
okay,
yeah.
so I'm a girl, so it's different, obviously. So already
Yeah,
it's like,
it is.
no. Like when
Yeah.
I was born, it's like you will be single forever. No. Until you get married. Like you
Oh, yeah.
you'll get
Marriage shall
married by
save you.
magic. Like I don't know
By magic.
how
My magic.
I'm supposed to bring this person
Someone will
home.
come
It is
and
just
pay
gonna
your
be
whole, and
exactly.
then
In fact,
then you'll date in the marriage. You'll date.
it's
in
actually
the marriage.
cemented in my brain now. I've actually like decided like when it's time for Lobola, that is when you will meet whoever, because I'm just
Yeah.
like they don't want to know.
I agree.
They don't want to
Really?
know. At least
No,
for me,
no
they
black
didn't.
parent wants to though.
Yeah.
I
They
can
don't want you to
concur.
do it, but then when you can, they don't want to know.
Yeah, that's which is crazy.
It's funny because with you ladies, I can understand why they're so strict. I mean, you're
Yeah,
ladies at the
girls,
end of the
it's
day.
different.
You're a little more. I think
That's another topic for another day.
it is.
No, but I'm just saying, like,
but,
in the sense,
okay,
like, I've got
I
a
agree.
younger
No,
sister,
but like,
and I'm also like, no, I'm not a what's this overbearing brother. She lives her life, you live your lifestyle. But I also am concerned for her. I also do like, hey, Joe, make
But
sure.
you're concerned
like, make
about
sure.
her, or you're concerned about other men? Like, who's the problem here?
No, but like,
I agree. It's the men.
Yeah.
The
Men
the
are
men
the
the
problem,
men
yes.
the men are the problem in society.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's also debatable.
You
But
heard it here.
yeah,
it is debatable. But here's what I'm gonna say though, T. I think that most black parent, actually, just period, everybody, every father, every mom, knows that raising a daughter is not easy.
especially in our society, like where so many bad things can happen to women. It's like, I understand, like there's the reality of like you cannot like lock her up in a room and say,
Yes.
you're not gonna have friends,
Yeah,
you're not
you
gonna do
shouldn't.
anything. Like you can't do that. It's not realistic. But all you can do is just try to like in whatever shape or form that you can, you try and instill the values that you can, and you try and like protect them in the way that you can. But the rest, you just have to like let them go and find their own way. But I'm just saying that protection is just coming from a place of like we understand the world that we're living in.
I do
And
get
it's-
it
and
though.
it's-
They know they
and-
can't change the world, so they can
Yeah.
only like control you
Yes.
and your
Yes.
behaviors. Yeah.
But even then,
It's
they're just
unfortunate,
hoping
though.
that you be a good kid. To
Yeah.
be honest,
'Cause
because they
sometimes
can't
you can
do
do
anything if you
everything
decide to
well.
just go your own way.
100%.
They can't.
Yeah.
But in any case, though, to I mean,
But you still didn't answer the
they-
question. You still didn't.
No, she did, actually.
unpack.
I did.
So there was.
It was a no.
it was a no. Yeah, she
Yeah.
did.
So
25
then-
and it still feels like it's
Still
a
never
no.
dated anyone.
Eh?
Never
No,
did.
I have,
Oh,
obviously.
Okay, but on the DL,
This
on the
is
down low.
they might
Great.
watch this.
Okay.
Digging
So-
in there.
I'm
But-
asking.
But go ahead, T. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and
You
they
can
know.
whisper
They
in the mic,
always
they won't hear you.
knew, but like we didn't really talk. My mom was comfortable talking about it though, but she was
Yeah, that's all
ironically the
moms.
more strict one.
Really?
She was the one who was like, "I'm telling you this. Like I know what's been happening. Put an end to it." And I would not, but like she would be like, "Eh." At
Oh, so
some
you
point, she
tell
had
her
to let go.
everything about-
Not even.
Okay.
I wouldn't tell her. She'd find out. Like she's got like ops. I don't know, man. I don't know how she does it. She knows everything.
Gangster.
So, yeah. But what about you? Give us
whatever.
your
Yeah, actually,
perspective.
yeah. No,
And
no,
then he's
sir.
pointing at it. Yeah, it's easy.
No, it's on you, sir. That one right there is on you. Go ahead,
Nah,
sir.
for me,
Uh,
it's different. Like even like as you say, I am a firstborn, yes, but because I'm a boy, it's different. Of which those are one of the things which I think we can change, but we'll get to that at a later stage. We'll discuss that later. But I think, yeah, with boys definitely it's different because it's like you're given more freedom. Even if you want to wild out, you become straight later on in life. You're not always gonna be like this, and then yeah, like that's kind of the mindset that they have.
yeah.
So for me, I will say that there was an element of like, yeah, behave yourself, don't do drugs, don't be promiscuous because you're gonna die. So like,
Exactly.
You're
You're always
gonna
gonna
die.
die.
yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
You are gonna die.
Yeah.
So yeah, there
Or
was
you're gonna go to hell.
yes. There was
Sure.
there was that. But for me, honestly, I even told you this, Avi. For me, going from I think even primary, high school, all throughout, I was just not interested. I was just
same.
not interested at all. I was only towards the end of my my high school days. That's when I was interested, and then yeah.
Do you think they played a role in why you were not interested? What is it like? I don't want to die.
Good question.
Low
actually.
key. Like, did they get to you? Because I feel like
They
deep
How did
down,
they
they
get
got to me. It got to me. I was like, I don't want to
They
die.
succeeded in their
Yes,
plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then at some point, I was like, I won't die.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think maybe you can say so because I think like we grew up also being very conservative, and I think that also played in a role, like in becoming the person that I am. Is that even though I'm more open as a person now and I'm older and I understand things better, I still am very much a conservative person. I don't wild out. I don't misbehave. I don't drink and all that stuff. But like,
All dark and handsome. I told you guys. Go ahead, sir. Sorry.
but
about
in
that.
terms of dating experience, I think I'd say especially once I was in varsity, that's when I was like pushing the boundaries a bit and I was just like living life on the edge a bit. But then it was okay. Like I was not put in boxes like or anything like that. My parents didn't mind. My mom has always been that person that if you wanna go and talk to her about something, you can go and talk to her. Father, not so much. Doesn't want to hear it.
Mine was the other way around.
Yeah.
That's so okay, except for dating. There's no way. But everything
dating,
else,
my
dad was my go-to.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm a daddy's girl. That's probably why.
Okay,
And then
makes
my
sense.
brothers are mommy's boys.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
That's the dynamic most times. But when it comes to like, I'd say, let me say this. In the younger years, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to see it. You sit down. That's not for you. But then once you're in
You sit
varsity
down.
or whatever, my mom didn't have a problem. In fact, they'll ask you like, is there someone you saying, do you have a girlfriend? No, mom, I don't
Do
know.
they do that?
No, my mom would ask.
Really?
Yeah, when I was in varsity.
It's a
Like, is there
trap.
someone like,
With-
you can tell me.
So you gravitate toward your mom more when it comes to dating stuff, right? Is that what I'm picking up?
Yeah, she's generally the open one. She's like the open book. If you want to
Yeah.
talk about anything, you can go and talk to her.
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
What
No.
And that
about
was
your
yours.
experience? Yeah. Was
To
he
give
about to
you-
move to the next question? With
Yeah, he wants to run away. The sly man.
Let's
The
run away,
sly
guys.
man. Sly
Out of
man.
frame. No. So my experience, to give you perspective, my first kiss was when I was 14 years old. Now, this was,
He even says it. He's priming you up.
it's
Tati, and he's
sir.
priming
Let
you
me just say,
up. Yeah.
this was now dating for me was just obviously banned. By the way, it was a strict no from my mom. She just didn't want to hear it. Period. My brother wasn't asking me about it, so I figured, just this is not something to do.
Yeah.
So the only girl I've dated in my life, actually, I was just telling Craig, I was so dumb and naive. I broke up with her because I was like, what we're doing is wrong. And dude, that was like literally how I broke. It was. I was so
So
dumb and stupid and
cute.
naive. That's
Yeah.
literally what I said to her. In any case, so
Just broke out like that.
bro, it was so dumb. But in any case,
This heartbreaker. Okay, continue.
dude, right? It was yeah, that moment. It was one of the most tragic moments, in my life, really. But in any case, so the first kiss, though, it kind of like experience was a little weird for me because you come from this background where dating and kissing and whatever is wrong,
Look at how he's like,
Yeah, even just gets into the back. It's like,
Yeah.
first kiss.
I'll just keep it down and just keep it down. Yeah, I know. But it
They're
was,
not here.
oh,
No.
They're-
you
your
killed
parents
me.
are not here.
I know, but like your parents are here, though.
No, they don't care.
Wasn't
They
it
don't
your
care.
dad,
Yeah.
How's your dad? Wasn't it your dad?
This is content. My dad was a filmmaker, so he'll understand.
Oh,
He'll be like,
Nice,
I think we can
okay.
take notes. We can
Let's
take
spill all the
notes.
beans, sir. No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Not all of them. There's some of them. Right. So in any case, 14-year-old naive AV
Yeah.
is walking down. Well, sorry, I'm visiting my
Yeah,
cousins
but
in
you
the
were
rural
quick,
areas.
man. You're already out here 14. You're on the streets,
that is
man.
quick.
No,
Young
sorry,
Bryson
no,
Tiller.
sorry.
Yeah,
Let me
this
rephrase
one.
that. No, sorry, I'm rephrasing that now. I was out hanging out about with my cousins.
Oh, okay.
So I was visiting family in the rural areas. So I'm visiting my cousins. They were talking about their girlfriends, whatever. They're like
Okay.
a year older. Some of them are like, same age. So they're like, yo, dude, how was your first kiss, AV? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? First kiss? What do you
Yeah,
mean kind of
what
kiss?
do you
Like,
mean?
yeah, I've kissed my hand. They're like,
Yeah.
well, no, we mean like with a lady, a girl. I'm like, well, no, I've never done it. So they hooked me up.
Wow.
They hooked me.
They said this needs to
Real-
happen
I'm gonna
today.
sort you out. And that's how guys are. They're like, you haven't done XYZ?
Today,
gonna sort you
it
out.
was,
I'm sorting
listen,
you
that
out.
setup was the quickest like I've ever seen in my
They
entire life.
find a random girl with like, do you want to kiss this
Guys
man?
make plans, man.
I'm
Guys make
telling you,
plans.
no,
They
no, no,
don't-
no. But they were like, you know what they did? They were like, okay, these are the girls here in this kind of like, part of the, area that are fine, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, pick and choose. Who do you want out of there? I was like, guys, I don't want. And then they forced me to pick somebody. Dude. I just pointed at her. Weirdly, I was like, that one. They're like, cool. Dude, they set it up. They set it up, and it's 7:00 at night. It's dark.
Set
It's
up,
dark
yeah.
outside, and it's raining. So sorry, it started raining a little bit just later on.
Okay.
But it took him a while, by the way, to set me up because it was just like I just was refusing the entire time.
Okay.
So
So it's not because the girl was like, no.
no, it's not because of that at all. No,
it was
actually.
only you were slowing things
I was
down.
slowing things down, dude. And but funny enough is because I was so stupid, I didn't even know how to talk to girls back then. The naive me, I just wanted because it's such a weird story actually. In any case,
crazy.
I'm walking down now with this girl, and I'm asking her stupid things like, okay, so how good are you in math? And I'm like, dude, it's
She's probably like, this is. And she knows the agenda why she's here. And then this man is like,
like, dude,
what's your ID number?
Algebra, huh?
I'm telling you, I was asking the dumbest questions
Oh,
you could
man.
ever think of. Like,
But you're trying to keep conversation.
I was
going.
trying to keep the
I
conversation
understand,
alive,
I
yeah.
understand.
So, but she entertained me for a little
Yeah.
while, and she was like, I remember her playing with her like hair. She had like a little twist thing back then though.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is now it's at night, so
Yeah.
I'm walking her back home. So we're kind of like we're kind of like done getting to know each other. So now I'm walking her back home. On our way
So
back
this is
home.
all on the first day.
all on the first day, bro. I'm
Young
telling
Dumia
you.
was quick, eh? Young AV was
yeah,
quick.
yeah. Well, my
You know,
cousins
your
were.
friends were like your cousins.
Yeah, cousins?
They have
The-
the hookup.
they were-
Ultimate matchmaker.
They said,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're excellent. I'm telling you, they were excellent. In any case, so we're walking down this muddy road because it's in the rural areas. You know,
Okay.
there's no tar, right? There's no tarmac. So the rain is pouring down real hard. We're walking in a muddy situation here. I can't see jack because it's in the rural areas. There aren't any headlights or street lights above you.
Yeah.
So you're walking pitch black, and I didn't have my phone on me, and it was time now to finally kiss the girl.
Ah,
So,
okay.
It
so
was
what happened?
time.
It was just.
Like,
So
did your
listen.
clock go?
So I don't remember what I did, right? I think I had
Yeah.
my hands back in the pocket like this, and I was
Yeah.
doing something weird, man. I was like moving around a lot. I
Yeah.
was super anxious. Dude, I missed a step, bro. Just as I
Ah,
was reaching out
this
for
guy.
I'm reaching out for the I missed a step. I went into a mud hole. Like
Ah,
it was a
no.
puddle. It was full of water. So, dude, I missed a step and I like fell into that little hole.
Yeah.
It was a mess, dude. She laughed at me so
Lol,
hard,
this
dude.
guy.
And I remember just her she just like burst out in laughter. Like, dude, just as you're reaching out, you just like fall right into the, little kind of like trap.
How
right?
do you
Quote, unquote,
recover
trap.
from something like that? How are you okay? Like,
Funny enough, she ended up kissing me at the end of the night. I don't know how that
I think
happened.
it was
Wow.
the comedic relief. Yeah. The
yeah,
comedic
maybe
relief,
that was
yeah.
better than your math questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably,
like,
probably,
did you just-
because it was. Oh yeah, I was being super dumb about everything. But that experience, you guys, it was just like, okay, well, this is like my first whatever like kissing experience, but I never told anybody though at home. It was only your siblings, because as I said, just on this topic, it's so hard just walking up to your dad or mom or brother and be like, yo, I just got my first kiss.
But for my question
And
for
having
you
them excited for
on
you.
that is like, for you, do they have like any expectations in that if you must bring back someone who's closer?
No,
Yeah.
actually, that's the thing with my mom.
That's
She
an
never
interesting
outlined.
question.
No. I think that's why I'm so like
Open.
open as well,
Okay.
because there was none of those boundaries that were set by
Okay.
my mom or my family or anybody really. It was more like. So I used to have this. So by the way, there are clan names in my culture. I'm sure. Do you guys have clan names?
Yeah.
we do.
You do.
I
So
think it's a African
so there's
thing.
a particular clan name I was after. I always would say my wife is going to come from this clan.
Oh,
But
okay.
they were like, okay, cool. Well, we're just waiting for the day. I used to say, dude, I used to say this from like a very young age. And I think
Serious?
that's the thing with my culture. They embrace a young boy aspiring for marriage or aspiring to be in a relationship. But
Yeah,
with girls,
actually.
it's a
Yeah.
little shunned against, or
No,
shunned
what's
upon.
funny is that like that's all you're prepared for though. It's like, can you cook? Can you well, I mean,
Yeah,
in the traditional sense, like can
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
cook? Can you clean? And now also, are you educated? Like,
Yeah.
and then it's like, will you make a good wife? But like, you can't go find one though. It'll happen
Yeah.
by magic.
Oh, okay. You
yeah.
just have to sit there.
Yeah, it'll
It'll just come together.
just be ready.
Someone will sprinkle something
Yeah.
there and it'll come together.
That's
Wow.
interesting though.
But for you,
It is.
did you have that expectation?
Yeah, it is for me.
Did you have that expectation?
Do they expect me to marry someone from a specific? No, at least
Yeah.
they've never expressed that to me. I think if they've got I think they're the type to tell you if they've got an issue once they've already met somebody.
Oh, okay.
But then I don't think it'll ever be about where they're from
Mm-hmm.
unless they've got like a really terrible experience with that kind of clan or something. But
That's
I doubt
funny.
that's going to be an issue. But I know that it could potentially be an issue because my mom, when she got married to my dad, people were like, Samanika, that's what like, that's where, do you know
Yeah.
those men are like, you're going to be cooking and cleaning every day. So she was like, no, he's not going to expect
He's
that.
not like
And
that.
then, and he was not.
Mm.
But
But
like
those stereotypes
it's
about people,
yeah, it's probably gonna come up, but it's not gonna be like a absolute no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
for me, that's funny. My father.
Yeah,
I
your
was there,
dad.
Yeah, at one point in time, he did mention, he was like, yeah, you must go for someone who's trying. I was like, who's here? Who am I going to meet? I'm
Yeah.
like, for me, I don't look at it like that. Because I was like, it always boils down to the fact, like, the person who you meet as well. Do you like them? Do you get along? Is that something that can, like, work? Like, could your lifestyle and that person's lifestyle coincide? It's not necessarily a culture thing because you can get people who are from the same culture as you, but that particular person is not a good person for you. So, yeah, for me, that's what I was like. So don't say that's.
Do you think you go for people in your culture anyways, though? Like just
Oh, as
putting
a
your parents
you mean
aside.
like what are my defaults?
Yeah.
That's what I was saying. For my experience was different. I didn't meet much girls who were anyways Shona as well.
Yeah.
So I just gravitated towards girls who were from
Really?
here.
Well, I
So-
really grew up like I was basically in Zim while I was here, guys. Like
Okay.
my church,
Yeah.
everyone's from
Oh yeah. So your
My-
circle was like that.
Zim. Yeah. Even the black kids at my school, even though there were a few of us,
Yeah.
10 or 20 of us in the grade would still be from Zim.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's just who you'd become friends with. So that's funny that like
Yeah.
so for me
Yeah.
the default is still technically people that I
From
know
home.
from
Yeah.
home. Yeah.
Okay.
Or close to home at
At
least.
least, yeah.
I hear you. Yeah. Now, well, as I said, I mean, the otherness is something that does exist.
Yeah.
And our parents tend to like kind of like grab, but like we're a different generation, especially
Yeah.
for me. Nobody ever said to me, "Don't go for a Zim girl or
Yeah.
a white girl or a
Or
Beta
white
girl or a
girl
Tswana
or
girl
even,
or whatever."
whatever
girl."
kind of-
Actually,
yeah.
funny enough, when I got to Joburg, I was very adamant about not going for classic girls. He knows. I was like, not going for classic girls. Period.
I'm done.
And it wasn't because of the stereotypes that were like associated with class of women. By the way, you guys know this
Yeah.
about class of women. Like, like it's they tend to be okay. Well, we're running low on battery here,
Stereotype.
but in any case, class of women tend to be a little, overpriced and things like that. Well, sorry, not
Oh,
overpriced, but a little expensive. Like
It's also like the Zulu girls
maintenance,
as well.
sort of.
Huh? Zulu girl you must have.
Yes. Yeah, you must. Yeah, your pockets must be a little
Yeah.
deep actually on
Yeah.
the Zulu culture. But that's pretty much it for me. Really, it wasn't. It was very much like people are open to welcoming anybody that I choose to bring home. Like this is somebody that you're gonna spend the rest of your life with,
Yeah.
not them. They're not gonna
Yes.
spend the rest of your life with your husband or your wife.
Yes.
It's you who's gonna be sitting there, spending the rest of your life with this person. So. It's got to be somebody that you resonate with,
Yeah.
at a deeper level, I
Sure
guess.
of your choice, good sir.
Yeah.
KT.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like even though they're welcome though, I still fear for someone different coming into my family. Like I know then it's not gonna be like, why'd you bring this white boy here? But it would be like nobody's gonna ignore the fact that you're white. Like this
Yeah.
is the
You can't
running joke
glance over it.
forever.
Oh,
And your
okay.
kids are gonna deal with it. Someone is like, do I have time for this right
Yeah.
now? Do I want to do I have the energy to be
Yeah.
defending somebody's son right now? Someone's like,
Yeah.
what's the easier? But like obviously,
Yeah.
like you never know who you're gonna meet. But like until
100.
you never know
110%
who you're gonna
actually.
meet. Yeah.
You never know. And I think that our parents should just like embrace, like they should just like brace for impact really, because we're
Very
just gonna
brace
go.
for impact.
Yeah, we're just gonna go for whoever we like, man, or
Yeah.
whoever we fall in love with at the end of the day, honestly.
Yeah.
In fact, talking about that, what are some of the things within just the black, sort of like community or culture or growing up black kind of like society would you change?
Yeah,
Why
Craig.
do you always look to me?
Like,
It's
yeah.
you're the
Because
kid.
you
Yeah,
read the
awesome.
notes.
No,
I'm kidding.
He's actually
Yeah.
he's actually on point with the notes. He's actually
Yeah.
on point.
What would I change?
Yeah.
So one thing I would definitely change for me is corporal punishment. You said
Yeah.
you were like, what? I was gonna start pinching my kids. Don't do that. But I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Each to their own. Those are your kids.
Yeah.
Although I don't know. I feel like it's tough. Maybe because when I was a kid, I used to, like I said, I don't deserve this. So now, since
Don't
then,
deserve this.
it's
Yeah.
like I made a promise to myself.
Yeah.
Like I'm not doing. I
Doing
just
this to
don't
my
see the need.
kids.
I think that children are smarter than we think.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like they like parents fully believe. I think it's like a Christian thing actually. Not all Christians, but like
Yeah.
I think there's like a Bible verse that says something about
Oh,
like
the
if you
one
want your
about-
child to be raised right, you need to literally beat them whenever they mess up. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I feel like kids are much smarter than we think, and also that behavior it trickles down somewhere else,
Yeah.
and I don't want to know where
I
because
agree.
I'm
Yeah.
not going to be participating. So that's something I think I wouldn't do. And then, yeah, I can't. Just anything hurtful. I think anything that might have hurt me when I was growing up
Yes,
black,
you want
then-
to
You want to
not
change
that
pass
I
it.
down.
saw that other people who are not black were
Yeah.
not dealing with, then I was
Yeah.
like, actually, I don't need this specific thing. They grew up fine. Yeah, maybe my kids would too. That's something I would change. Definitely.
I think to add on that
100%.
one about the punishment, I was just joking, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
not going to pinch my kids. But I'm like, but yeah, that's definitely one thing. I think what I've come to learn is I think it's as you're saying, it depends also on the child. I think when you,
That's
as a
fair.
parent, when you come to understand, okay, with AV, umtana like, like he likes being around kids, for example. I know that for him, a way of punishing him is to remove him from people. Because that wouldn't make him happy and he'd learn his lesson. Or this one I can explain to them and they can understand what they've done wrong. So I think understanding your different kids and then learning how to handle them in those situations, I think then you can decide the form of discipline that they'll receive. Because I think the principle of what the Bible is just trying to communicate, I think, I don't know if it is a verse, we'll check that out. But I think it's just a thing of like understanding that there needs to be a level of discipline. In the same way that even as we live our lives, God does discipline us when we go,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't raise your kids in a way to think that there's no consequences for anything that they do. But that is one thing I'll change. The other thing I'll change, I think I would say some of the cultural norms in a sense where like guys are free to do whatever they want without consequence. And you end up being surprised when you live in a culture society where men are not responsible because you've given them freedom and no accountability. So I think that is
Yeah.
a big thing. You see it especially in African cultures, like the man can be abusive, he's absent father, or and all of that stuff. But then it's like no, the woman must just accept that and stay with that man.
Yeah.
So I think things like that definitely do need to change.
Definitely.
100%, 100%. I concur with both of y'all here, but I do also go back to the book of Proverbs that there's
Preach on it, sir.
a verse there actually that says, a little spanking will do your kid some good, right?
Yeah.
I think,
Each to their own. I mean,
yeah.
As long
I
as
mean,
it's not my kids, I don't know.
not my kids.
Yeah.
Now, look, I could understand. I mean, my brother actually, my biological brother, he and his wife don't spank their kids at all.
Yeah.
my nieces and nephews do not get beat. Actually, all my siblings don't spank
Really?
and beat their kids. Maybe I'm still gonna have a change of heart in that case. I like to think of myself as a very loving person,
Yeah.
but I do think a little, I don't know, spanking on kids does maybe
I can agree with
put
that.
some sense into
agree
them
with that.
every now and then. I don't know. It's fine to, I guess, to disagree in that sense, but that I would just like maybe challenge a little bit, but like don't go too hard though to a point where, because for
Yes.
me, one thing that I would change is yelling and raising your voice.
Yes. Yeah.
Raising your voice and shouting
Definitely.
at somebody and throwing words at them is just something I
Not
would
measuring
just,
your
like
words.
ask the entire culture. Please, guys, parents out there, please just don't yell at your kids and talk to them like they're idiots or
Yeah.
like they're like stupid or whatever. Now, you may be thinking, oh no, he's pouring it out. Heck yeah, I'm pouring out actually, because like if you think about it, no. It's just it would always pay me because actually, it's gotten to a point now where, whenever I hear somebody, dropping something, it's just there's a trigger that happens in me, just personally. If you were to drop something like loudly, like or like say break a glass in the kitchen, that would like irk me a little bit, like. Because every time I would do that, my mom would like raise her voice
she'd flip
so hard. It's like you're bursting out my eardrums, number one. But just kidding. But like it was so like every time you gotta get startled every single time now you break something. It
Yeah.
gets you to be clumsy a little bit though here and there. But you obviously you work it out as you grow though. It's something that's I think it's solvable. It's not something that's like, there's no solution to it. So I think the yelling bit and the shouting bit is something that please just don't raise your voice. Just like talk to the kid like they're like civilized. Don't like yell at them like they're animals. You yell at animals, but like
Yeah,
people
you
just
yell
like
at
treat them
animals.
decently, please. Especially your children. So that's one thing that I would change in my opinion. I don't know. But in any case, we are at the concluding phase essentially of the podcast now. Do you guys have any closing remarks essentially just before we wrap this up?
Tets, I
And
know
pack
you're
the show.
burning inside.
Huh?
I know you're burning inside, Tets.
No,
Speak.
not even. It's funny because I was actually very nervous to do a podcast because like it's gonna go on the internet and do you know I deleted Twitter
Really?
because every time I say something, I'm always changing. So like tomorrow, what I said today might not even be valid.
Yes.
So
Oh, okay.
sometimes I'm like, I overthink because I'm
Okay.
like, no, this is gonna be there for a while, and people might be like 10 years like, you remember when you said this in
those would be how the
2023,
games
and it's
do.
like 2023, I was a different person.
Mm.
So I think I'll try to say something that's like a bit general, which is that like I think in essence, growing up black was still wonderful. I don't
100%.
think it was in any way. I don't think I would change
And you're still
that
growing.
much. Yeah, and I'm still growing. You're
Yeah.
always I'm gonna be black forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be growing
Yeah.
forever. So I think but if anything, I think the only tough part about it was just like how careful I think I had to be in comparison to other people. The things that I could do, that other kids could do, I couldn't
were
always
not
get
able to
away
do
with
them.
because maybe the way it's being perceived is not the same.
Yes.
So like remember we're talking about like the conservative. I think that's where the conservativeness came from. Was like
100%.
it was actually protection. So I think in essence there's not that much I would change because the society we live in almost required a lot of these norms that we have in order for you to
100.
just grow up okay. Yeah.
Mm.
And that's why growing up black feels different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
100. I like that. I like that.
Fire.
think
Fire,
for me-
actually.
I also agree with that. For me, I love growing up black. I just feel like it's okay. This is not like the whole praising black people thing. I'm not about that. I'm just saying like what I do really enjoy about it is the unique perspective in terms of being able to relate with people like from other cultures just because of our communal way of living. We've got a very communal way of living where it's like, Avi's mom is my mom, your father is my father. And I think that helps us connect with people in a way that we don't do in today's current society, because when you adopt the Western culture, it's very individualistic. So that's one thing I really do appreciate when it comes to black cultures, that we make everyone feel included and
Yeah.
feel at home. So yeah, those are my closing remarks.
Thank you, guys. First of all, In closing, I just want to say thank you yet again, Tatiana, for opening up your quarters here to host us, because this is actually Tatiana's lawn, backyard lawn right here. This very sassy, pashosh looking
Honey
background that you see
Pashash.
here. This is all her doing.
Pashash.
So yeah, yeah, like it looks tight. I'm not gonna lie, So thank you for letting us in your home.
You're welcome.
They truly do appreciate it, and thank you for also
Now a
accepting the
traveling
invite.
podcast, guys. It's
Huh?
now a traveling podcast.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. Actually, we're
Yeah.
gonna be moving places. Actually, talk on that note. In closing, this is your flagship podcast, as you know, and I've been your host, AV, with my friend over here, Craig, and the beautiful Tatiana over here. And if you do want to listen to any more of our stuff, you can find us on on podcast. Oh my goodness, on Spotify,
Spotify.
on the gram, on the tube, YouTube. So
Yeah.
we're everywhere, guys. We're everywhere. Share this with your grandma, your pet, your dog. I mean, as you saw, we're very inclusive over here. We got pets running around and stuff like that.
Well.
It's fun. It's fun in games. But in any case, yeah, that's it for me. Until next time, you guys stay safe, stay cultured. Till next time, cheers.